This is not to make you feel some kind of way, but I just have to speak the fact. First of all, I want to say that I perceive you as a political content creator.
That's fine.
No, I'm serious. And that is because I made a research about you, and I saw that you've been doing this protest of a thing from your SUG days. And right now, it's still happening. But I have not seen where you protested and achieve an aim for that very protest. You protest, bring people out, you don't achieve an aim for that protest. That one will end, and you move on to another new protest. Why do you always bring people out, and when they throw tear gas, you'll be the one running, shouting revolution now? Are you trying to motivate the people to start a war, or you are trying to, because I personally don't think you're fighting for the people. I think you're fighting for yourself. Because in 2019, you were interviewed by Ebuka, and he asked you, why do you think you are qualified to be president? You told him that Nelson Mandela came out of prison as an activist and he became president. You made the instance of Obama, and you said you have done more than that. So you are qualified to be president. And right now you are still protesting. You didn't do the Igbo protest in Abuja or Lagos. To gather Igbo people. Is it that you are trying to put it in them to understand that they need this war?
Okay, thank you. Well, let me start with your last. And by the way, I don't feel insulted. If you consider my activism and content creation, I appreciate it because that means it has content. Yes. With regards to your reference to Igbo people in Aba, Nnamdi Kanu is from Abia State. But I don't know how much of recent history you know. The first anti-Nnamdi Kanu's trial protest took place in Abuja. And I led it. In fact, I ended up in prison for 4 days because of that protest. That was in October of 2025. Now, talking about results, I was the one who protested for the woman who just got 110 million naira from a minister. That's the result. I protested last year on behalf of policemen. 74,000 of them got promoted. That's results. I protested against an IG of police who was removed. It has never happened before that an individual ever protested an IG of police and he was removed. But most importantly, when I was in my SUG days, I was one of the people that protested for the democracy you are enjoying today. That's results. 1999, we fought from 1989 when I arrived at university. By 1999, 10 years later, democracy came to Nigeria. Am I proud of the democracy? No. But did we end military rule, which was the goal of our protest? Yes. Have you heard about third term, Obasanjo's third term? I protested against third term. That's why he had 2 terms. Have you heard about Yaradua, who was holding Jonathan to ransom? I protested to get him out of the so that Jonathan, a southerner from Ijaw nation, can become president of this nation for the first time. That's results. I've done so many protests that brought results. And what I want to enjoy you to do, if my protest is not satisfactory to you, start your own. Yes, that's best. So, and one last thing I will say is that please do not insult content creation. Those content creators, some of them are genius people. They are not. They just don't wake up and create content that make you laugh. In a country where things are hard, it's difficult to make people laugh. So content creation is actually creativity that is driven by a genius and a human brain. I'm just saying that. But again, thank you. And I respect your right to state what you have stated. And I hope I was able to answer your questions. Thank you. I need a link, please. Okay. Stand up, please. Stand up.
My name is Ongenekewe. So I have just one question to ask. You are coming out as a candidate for the next election, right? Next presidency election. I just want to know, how do you plan to defend your votes? Or rather, how do you plan to defend the votes, considering this was a very big issue in the last election? Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
I could say something to you about votes and defending votes. I might take you too far into history. When in 1993, a man known as Abiola in this country, billionaire, defeated his opponent, but his billions could not save him. It was myself and some young people in the SUG days that helped him defend his votes. And that vote did not materialize, but it wasn't because we didn't fight. It was because we didn't have enough people fighting hard enough. To talk about defending my vote, when I was here the last time, some person stood up, some friend, you became my friend later, and said, how are you going to defend your vote? And my answer was simple, and I'm serious about this. If I was the one who won any election, if I'm not declared the winner, there's nobody who didn't win the election that can be declared the winner, who can stay in that office. If we take my life, I'll give it. You see, the problem with the defense of the votes last time was that, and I'll give it to every one of you who were involved in that, you were ready to give your life, but your leaders were not willing to do anything. And without leadership, you cannot achieve victory of that dimension. Not a single hand was raised. I even volunteered, and I'm saying this, you can ask Dele Farotimi, that if the person who claimed to win that vote is willing to lead the protest, I will go out and be part of it. But I'm not going to lead your protest for you so that you can mock me by going to a meeting with the people who are taking the mantle from you. And talking about Abiola again, the only reason why we followed Abiola was because Abiola was willing to die for his mandate, and he did die for his mandate. Anybody who is not willing to die for his mandate is not worth voting for in any election, even if it is class captain. Because there's nowhere in the world that power is given to people on the platter of gold. You have to, you ask for it, you fight for it, you either live or die for it. That's nature of power. And the people you are dealing with were ready to kill for it. They had MC Oluomo, who was killing for it. Now they have brought out Sunday Igboho, who is going to be willing to kill for it. So you must have people on your own side too, who are willing to die for this. And then it will be 0-0, as they say, go let's draw.
Okay, sir, from your speech,
yes.
So you admit that Peter Obi won the election, but he didn't fight for it. That was
if you can't fight for something, how can you declare you won something that you can't fight for? That was the problem. He didn't stand up to even tell anybody that he won. There's nowhere today, apart from asking you guys to look at the judiciary. I'm just coming from the judiciary. You can look at the judiciary all you want. The best thing that can happen to your eyes is they will catch Apollo. That's all. But if the judiciary knows that there's war outside, they will rule according to the wish of the people.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Philip, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. Good
Thank
afternoon.
you so much for coming. Sir, there's a saying that says everybody go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
I'm not among those people who want to go to heaven. I don't even plan to go to heaven.
Okay. Now let's look at this.
Because it's part of how they deceive you and make you not do anything. If God wanted man to be in heaven, he wouldn't have created earth. He created the earth so that you can enjoy it. Then these pastorpreneurs will now transfer your illusions to another people.
Okay, I just wanted him to land. Now, sir, looking at this Gen Z that they have the mind of their own, how do you think it's going to be easy to convince them to come out and fight or protest? We all know protest no longer works. There's no amount of protest that people have been doing that is yielding. Take for instance the one that happened when Wike or the FCT didn't pay people's salary. It didn't work, it didn't yield. The amendment of the election is still being yield. All of a sudden, overnight, they came and announced. And what happened? Now, people need what they call assurance. We are all angry and eager to fight for our mandates. But people are scared to lay down their life. Because what if I come out, fight for my right, and then I am killed? I died. What is going to happen? Who is going to come out and lead us? Thank you, sir.
There's nobody.
If you are a Nigerian, and listen to me properly, you are going to die anyways. Yes. So you better choose something to die for that will make you even proud when you are dying, that I chose to die for something. It's a matter of time, and I mean time. If things keep going the way it is, that you start dying for nothing. When you talk about protests, if a protest is unsuccessful, it is because there are not enough people who are participating in the protest. If a protest wants to be successful, just let everybody leave whatever they are doing. Go out. A protest done by everybody on the same day is called a revolution. But if you are still in doubt that whether somebody will carry on after you die or not, you are not ready. All these things you call protests are not protests. Some of the protests we are even talking about are organized by our enemies to make us feel that they have opposition. But the kind of protest we need is a protest of everybody. Look at the number of people in this country, in this room, who are listening to beautiful speech. If you step out of the streets just to walk to the next bus stop, the country will start shaking. There are not less than 200 people in this room. But if we call for a protest now, half of you will be preaching to have, not to go out. And you are wondering why protests don't succeed. We must all agree that to get and take back our country, we must be willing to put our boots on the ground. And when that happens, there is nobody, and I can tell you categorically because I've been in small and big protests before, that nobody will wait and want to know what 100,000 people are going to do if they are all marching in Abuja. You also, at least you have tested protests through NSAS. The reason why NSAS fail, I keep telling you, is that we had the wrong set of leaders for NSAS who weren't willing to die. They were more interested in the publicity. Otherwise, we were just a few weeks or steps from the Aso Rock itself. Soldiers were already removing their uniform in this Abuja. Governors were calling that their policemen were no longer reporting to duty. People had already started to immerse themselves in the future. But then you had people who were having conversation on the ground. We should not lie about it, with Dangote and the rest of them on Zoom discussing how to end the protest. And that they didn't want a revolution, they only wanted the end of police brutality. The people participate in it because of police brutality. You know? The reason why SARS was successful is because people were tired of the Buhari regime. Simple. But we allow that to fade away, and we are still here debating. When we are ready, my brother, these people will run away. Okay. You have only 10,000 public officials in Nigeria. You have 200 million people who is afraid of 10,000 people. It doesn't make any sense.
Hello, please. We have two more questions.
All right.
Two more questions. We have Brain and Daniel. Please. Brain, come forward, please. Right. So I like what you do, and
there's a question I want to ask you about the future of the electoral process in Nigeria. Ever since you've been contesting and all, and you've been contesting from a place of ideas, trying to sensitize people and tell them how bad the country is and how it can get better. And personally, I feel that Nigeria has not gotten to the point of ideological purity in politics, right? Don't you think it's time for you to have an alliance with one of the already existing parties to see how you can probably win the election and have people support you and back you? Let's say maybe pairing with Obi or any other person that you think is a lesser evil, because they say if you can't beat them, you join them. I'm just asking you.
So this same question not asked from somebody in this.
Them, you join them. Even the Peter Obi that you keep talking about, that will pair with, Obi has already paired with people who are also pairing from him. Very soon now, you guys will find out that Obi doesn't even have a political party. That's the truth. Because the ADC that he was lured into, they are mostly, the ADC is owned 100% by Atiku. And the only available position there is the vice presidency, which I heard Amechi has already taken. Is there a second vice president for the South in the ADC? But that's not the issue. What I keep telling people is that there is alliance of the old. The only alliance we have not created is the alliance of the new, of the oppressed. Because a lot of you are still distanced from politics. Politics to you still looks like something done by dirty people and should be left for dirty people. You are only part of the conversation about politics and leadership. You have not inserted and immersed yourself ambitiously into politics. The reason I'm saying so is that you go and review your participation in 2022, which is what most of you claim credit for. You joined the Labour Party. Some of you didn't join. You invested your time, your energy. Some of you invested your lives. What did you produce? Senators that were Labour Party who are now in APC. House of Rep members that are in Labour Party who are now in APC. So there's a place for ideological purity. If the people you presented in 2022 and 2023, who became your senators and House of Rep members, were ideologically aligned with your own aspirations, they will not be in APC today. They would have been the bedrock of the people we can rely upon to help us fight for electoral integrity in the House, in the Senate. But how many of them are still with you today? None. Not a single one. Even Alex Otti, that is still in Labour Party, is closer to Tinubu than the man in Imo. They are friends. I think he's only staying in Labour Party waiting to see, because I'm telling you this because Alex Otti is my friend, personal friend. But I don't meet anybody who is in power at the moment. I let them do what they have to do. And just accept that lack of ideological purity in your perception, participation in party politics will always rob you of the opportunity and will only create opportunists that will exploit your sweat, your efforts and energy and squander them, which is what has happened to the Labour Party. Ask yourself, what happened to your Labour Party? Are you still in charge of your Labour Party? Can you recognize Labour Party today if you see it? But were you not the guys who were telling us that if we don't join Labour Party in 2022 and 2023 that we have committed the heresy in this country? Are you not the ones?
Okay, that is it. Right, thank you so much. I really respect you and everything you've done for your progress in Nigeria. And I want to just say one thing, you know that you can't make any drastic change if you're not inside the system. So knowing that, my question is, if you're in a position dealing with the same realities that Peter will be dealing with now, what would you do differently? And do you think there's any path for you people to work together, or would you allow him to come to your party?
Our party, you can join online. It's free. But the problem is that if you join our party online, you have to undergo.
You have to join groups and be trained to understand what the party is about. And if Peter Obi wants to join our party, he has to join online. And then he has to join the classes that will discuss with him how to purge himself of his PDP days, of his Labour Party days, of all the alliances and the relationship he's had that did not work, which I'm sure he's not ready for. So because I notice that so many of you like to give excuses on his behalf. That is not the issue. It's not going to save the situation. What we are about is what we have defined. Our party was created or established in 2018. It's one of the only few 18 political parties in Nigeria that is still standing today. So to join the party, your agenda must align with that of the party. Your aspirations must be liberation motivated. You cannot just join the party hoping that you buy the form of the party, win an election, and the next day you have jumped to the enemy party that we say we don't want to be part of. So that is the problem. The other part you mentioned, which I'll answer very quickly. All of you keep saying you have to go inside and be part. Ask yourself, what happened to Kenyamo? The inside is the cemetery of the human conscience. All the people that have gone inside, have you not lost them? You have lost contact with them like people have lost contact with our stars in the Milky Galaxy. You can't find an Oshiomole anymore, even though that one was never genuine. I say it before everybody. But how many people have you sent to work from the inside that is still with you today? So the inside is not for us. The outside that can change things is where we belong. The last question is, what would I advise Peter Obi? Ask him to call me. He has my number. Okay. I'll give him the right advice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Just send me now. Yes. How please?
See or not with that thing, you're not with ADC, you are not an opposition. So, how do you respond to the people who say you indirectly help this current government by dividing the opposition? What do you say about it?
I thought this question is very lame.
Not to insult you, is that when you are talking about opposition, the opposition must define what they are opposed to. If the opposition is not opposed to corruption, it's not opposition. If the opposition is not opposed to election rigging, it's not opposition. If the opposition is the same people you were opposed to in 2023 and 2022, who you call the criminal, what do they call it? The structure of criminality, then you are not in opposition. I cannot claim to be an opposition to a system that I'm part of. Thieves cannot oppose thieves. That's the truth. Because they know themselves. You see, to oppose a bad system, you need one very important currency: integrity. If you have no integrity, there is no way you can oppose them. I give you the example of the governor of Bauchi who just joined the APC yesterday. People are saying that, oh, he got tired. No, they had his accountant general under trial. And he just took the advice of Oshiomhole that if you don't want problem with the ruling party, go and join them. And that's, is conventional wisdom that man knowing that he's a thief has to go and join his fellow thieves so that he can be safe from the embarrassment of being dragged through the federal. I was in the same federal high court 2 weeks ago, which is accountant general. His case is not going well. So the man decided to join. But you are going to call that opposition before he joined. You used to call Bala Mohammed opposition, right? You are going to call Babashiru Lawa, the grass cutter man, opposition. You are going to call Amechi opposition to me. You are going to call Malami opposition to me. You are going to call El Rufai opposition to me. I mean, who are you deceiving? How about Peter Obi, sir? You have always brought Peter Obi up. The way to know Peter Obi is where he is today. Tell me your friends, I will tell you who you are. It's as simple as that. If you have to exist, and the only people you can exist with in the political system are thieves that you identified to us as big thieves in 2022, and you are now the treasurer of the thieves, don't tell me that you don't like thieves. If you are the treasurer of killers, don't tell me that you don't like killing people. But as I've always challenged most of you, why don't you for one day just sit with you have Peter Obi in your midst? I saw him here. Ask him, when you were governor for 8 years, why didn't you build Anambra like Dubai? So that all of us can go and be spending weekends there. I would love to be in Anambra. I just came from Aba 3 days ago to protest. Some guy there who is a member of the Labour Party claims that he has transformed Aba. That's Alex Oti. You understand? But I went to Aba. Some transformed, partly not transformed. I don't believe in half transformation. Because when you enter into Ariara Market, which is the biggest economic hub there, the place looks like Jurassic Park. But when you get to the main road, of course, there's some, but mine is total. And I'm just answering you truthfully, because some of you will come back later and say, well, we wish we listened to you when you told us the truth. And my nature is that I tell the truth, and when I'm done, I will leave. It's up to you to accept or reject my hypothesis. But my hypothesis about the ADC is that just look at the roll call. David Mark, who has just been removed as the leader of the APC and replaced with Tinubu's person. David Mark was the governor of Niger State when I was in secondary school, 1983 and 84 or so, under Buhari, when they were doing environmental sanitation. That Lagos just now reintroduced. That's why you know that people have no sense in government. What I'm trying to tell you is that you can't just tell yourself the truth. Do you want to keep recycling failure, or do you want to get rid of failure from your system and it might take a little longer, but we can put a system in place that makes this country compete with any country, if not in the USA or Europe, at least South Africa. Okay, thank you. Well, children don't go to school here. They are interested in building houses for judges because they need the judges to survive the cause of justice. That is what Nigeria is about, and that's what we always say, which ties to my first question, that I can't identify with the guys who failed this country up to this point. Nobody can appeal to me that you're a governor, president for 10 years. You can't build a hospital that you, the president yourself, can go to. You are governor, you don't have one hospital in your state where somebody can walk in and get cured of headache. I'm not talking about any complex disease or malaria. Most Nigerians treat themselves with a variety of things. They treat themselves with herbs. If it doesn't work, they put together some medicine, whether it works or not. And if it doesn't work, they submit themselves to pastors or imams who are worse than those ones are sick themselves. And when they are sick, they don't drink anointing oil. They travel abroad with the money of the poor to treat themselves. They don't wait for God when they are sick. But when you are sick in their church, they give you a handkerchief and pour anointing oil on it. The oil is from a person who doesn't even know God. Countries like Italy produce the best anointing oil. They don't care about God. It's for cooking. But the pastors pour it on you so that you can die. And you can go to the heaven he doesn't want to go to.
But you and I both understand. Like, I know it's not so much a question. Both of us know that what that means when they start taking this money out of the layperson's check, and they passing these laws without even the layperson even thinking about it. So once you have to, each person in here have to pay for this universal health care, but there's no hospitals like you said. What happens? Where's the money go?
What I'm worried about is that this universal healthcare insurance that you're talking about is not even a Nigerian version of any health insurance. It is the US coming in to steal our personal information. Yes, this emerged from the US recently. It is an agreement between the US government and Nigerian government to take the personal information of Nigerians as they collect your insurance information. And then you become a guinea pig in their international experiment. Sadly.
Okay, Richard. Lot of it. Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I must commend you for your consistency and your punctuality time where you invited me. Thank you very much. And okay, from the trending stories we had in the last week,
Yes.
About the Minister of Works, David Umahi, and Madam Tracy.
Yes.
And we saw how the whole story turned out when she now ended up apologizing. So looking at the justice system being faulty, also looking at the electoral system being faulty, and I believe you're still interested in becoming president of this country. These are two major faculties that can push or pull anyone into power.
Yes.
What strategy do you have differently that you think can guarantee you presidency in 2027 or whenever?
My strategy is you. And you having the consciousness to understand that by themselves, and I'm saying this, I'm not lying, and I will never lie to you. Elections cannot bring about change by themselves in Nigeria. Election has been decided against all of you. Whether you like it or not, nobody knows more about this because I formed the political parties in 2018. And we know where elections are going even before we go into these elections. And that was the reason why I called for a revolution. I'm sorry about those of you who are shaking your heads about revolution. Only a revolution can deliver this country. But the revolution might happen through the ballots if they know you are determined. But it might happen the other way if they also know you are determined. I've always said it, and I've been charged before a federal high court for treason, that I wanted to overthrow the government. I never deny it. Anybody who is not willing to overthrow the current system is mentally sick, because the system is rigged against you. And as a result, my participation in elections, and I've said this for those who might have heard me several times, is not to win the elections alone, is to keep telling you the flaws in the election so that you too can wake up and see what I see and try to do what I do. I believe that we have enough people in this country, young people, who can change the trajectory of this country, but they just have to say enough is enough. And by the next day, you have a different country. If you are still afraid that if you fight, you don't know how it will end, if you don't take the fight to them, they will take the fight to you. And it's happening. You already know that most of your cities are under siege. It just hasn't touched your house yet. If the kidnappers is not close to you, the bandit is close to you, or the terrorist is close to you. And the biggest terrorism group in Nigeria is the Nigerian government. At any rate, they will kill you at the slightest provocation or no provocation at all. If anyone is in doubt, those of you participated in NSAS, you know what they did, and nothing happened after that. But what I'm saying is that it has to be a combination of factors. If they are planning election, you can participate, but you don't need to participate. But you can decide and elect that you want to change your country. That in itself is an election. And that can happen in any form or shape possible. As Malcolm X said, by any means necessary. And trust me, one last thing I'll say. If you guys think you are too fine, beautiful, not to do it, some other people will do it for you. It might just be that you might end up with your beauty in a refugee camp. And it's not a nice place to look pretty. So you better do it now in a very peaceful, well-organized way. Get these guys out of the way and have the breathing space and the oxygen to develop and prosper. That's all I ask for. That's it. Thank you, sir. Okay, the next question. Okay, Mazi.
Notice that Nigeria is talking about doing universal health coverage on everybody, making people have to pay for health care. I don't know if y'all are paying attention to this because it's going to tap everybody's pockets. This is something from, of course, the Western world, right? So my question to you is this. Nigeria is discussing expanding universal health insurance coverage, which y'all are going to have to pay for, right? Through the National Health Insurance Authority. However, many hospitals lack equipment, emergency capability, and trained staff. Should Nigeria focus first on fixing the hospital's infrastructure and emergency care systems before expanding insurance coverage? Because you are asking people to pay for something that is not there.
Thank you. So Nigeria has 3 levels of healthcare system. There's the primary, there's the secondary, and there's the tertiary.
Institution hospitals. The first 2 has collapsed. The third one is on the verge of total collapse. There is nowhere in Nigeria where Nigerian leaders, there's no hospital in Nigeria that the Nigerian leader can walk into to be treated. They don't even trust their hospital. In fact, Nigerian leaders can't allow themselves to be embalmed after they die in a Nigerian hospital. They can't preserve even their body. The last president who died in Nigeria, former president, died in London, embalmed there. He was a Muslim, then they brought his body to be interned in Katsina. The question is, should we not fix it first? Of course. And our position, my position, is not even insurance system. I lived in the US for 20 years. Slow death for anybody who is sick and poor. That is why your congressmen have the best insurance policy than the people shitty insurance policy. We are for free healthcare. The Nigerian people haven't gotten to a point where you have people, 100 million out of 200 million people living under $1 per day, who can afford the kind of health insurance that is killing people in your country, the US. I'm assuming, based on the way you're speaking, that you come from Trump's country. Don't announce it in public here, because Trump has screwed up the US so bad, nobody loves that country anymore. But so for us, is to build from the bottom up, to build primary health care for the rural areas, secondary general hospitals for town. How can you govern a state for 8 years and you can't live there? You go and live in another state governed by another person. You shouldn't be proud of that. You should be proud of people who are governors for 8 years.
And they stay there and ask you to come to my state and live with me because they have transformed the state. The reason I'm responding this way, of course, you all know I'm passionate. I'm just coming from court today. This is my second court hearing, criminal trial in 2 days. Simply because I'm asking for the country to be better governed. Nothing more. I didn't steal anybody's goat. I did not kill anybody's child. I've never done a contract before. It's not before the EFCC. They are trying me for cyber crime because I said govern this country properly.
That's all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So before we proceed, please, I would like to the media team, please. Please. Chief, please. Are you all from Sowore reporter, please? No. And I'm coming from court. So please, I want to apologize on their behalf. We're just coming from court and they've been following me everywhere. Maybe they can stay. Look, can you just please? We are from Sowore reporter. Look, can you just come? The only person allowed is Sarah.
This is personal page.
Okay, it's personal page. Okay, that's fine. You can just create space. Can you just look?
Let's just have
People are not saying this. Okay, one hour, please. Sorry, please. Sorry for the inconvenience. Please. So we are sorry, please. Please. Sorry. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Yes. Thank you.